Welcome to I Have the Power, a He-Man vidcast. From the secrets within Castle Grayskull to the horrors atop Snake Mountain, we cover everything Masters of the Universe, including action figures, animation, live-action film, and comics. With your hosts, Adam and Chris.
Welcome to another episode of I Have the Power, a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe podcast and vidcast. As always, I'm your host, Adam, and with me is my co-host, Chris. Chris, how's it going?
I have the power.
Yeah, we all do. It's in fact, now I think he, in some iterations, he shares it, right? So
yeah, he does.
So,
we have the power.
That's right. In the one Netflix iteration, he shared it with all the other Masters of the Universe. So there you go. Now that saying now fits. So first of all, we are in the year 2025. So if this happens to be your first podcast on the network, then Happy New Year. It is the year where finally, and I'm knocking on wood just in case, a new live-action He-Man and the Masters of the Universe film is going to go into production. Maybe by the time that this episode's posted, it'll have started principal photography. I don't know the exact date, but supposedly at some point in this month, which is January.
I think it's next week.
Okay, well there you go. So that and Supergirl at the same time. I don't know what Earth this is in the multiverse, but I'd like to stay here because it's a good one. For the most part. Then you step outside in the real world and not so good, but I digress. In the little bubble of our fandom, so far so good. Let's put it that way. So, Chris, over the holiday period, there's been some news and talk regarding the Masters of the Universe film. So, what a better way to start the year than with a podcast discussing it all. First up, let's get to the multitude of castings that we were treated to. I want to say maybe the week before Christmas.
I thought it was like the day before Christmas Eve.
Yeah, okay.
Was it like the 23rd?
Somewhere, yeah.
It was really close. Like I thought Hollywood was shut down. We're not getting anything until next week.
It was okay, so it was actually like the 19th. So
okay, close enough.
It was the week before. So yeah, we got a ton of castings for a variety of different roles. So we'll just run them down. Now we had a lot of the hero side of the equation taken care of, and so with the exception of Eco, which is Allison Brie, of course. So this time around, we got the all of the castings that we got were for the villain side of the equation, and some of these names are really hard to pronounce. So if I get them wrong, which is probably bound to happen, I apologize to the actors. Not that they're listening to this, but if they
don't know that,
I'm sorry for butchering your name. If in fact you are listening, but we have Hafthor Jorgensen is playing Goldman. This individual is a Icelandic professional strongman, and he has done some acting in Game of Thrones. Can't remember who he played, but he was in Game of Thrones. Goldman being in this is an interesting pull because the last time we saw him was in the Netflix Masters of the Universe, the Revolution.
I remember him in that.
It was very brief, but he was there. So it's like a deep cut pull that they're going with there.
He was the Mountain.
Well, there we go.
This is a massive gentleman.
Now I can see, because I'm looking at a different picture, that he doesn't look like the Mountain, but now seeing it, yeah, okay, I can see it. Yeah, there we go.
I think that's what he was called, the Mountain.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah. We also have Sam C. Wilson. Will play Trapjaw. He's most another Game of Thrones alum. He's most known as for House of the Dragon. Not sure again exactly who he is because I checked out of House of the Dragon by episode 5. But Sam C. Wilson will play Trapjaw. We have Kojo Atta, I think that's how you pronounce it, as Tri-Klops. And he starred in a movie called Wrath of Man, which I've never seen, so I'm not familiar with him.
Jason Statham stuff.
Well, okay, there we go. So, yeah. And then the biggest name of them all is Jared Leto as Skeletor, which was rumored months ago.
Heavily rumored.
Which I hate the fact that he's right, because more often than not he's wrong. I don't hate the fact that Jared Leto's in this, but I hate the fact that that particular individual.
Who said it?
It was Jeff Snyder.
Oh, okay.
More often than not wrong, but on this occasion he was right.
What is it? Even a clock is right. How does that go?
A broken clock is right once.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so Jared Leto will play Skeletor. I can't really comment on the actors that except for the Mountain. Now that I know it's the Mountain, he's huge. And I'm sure Boatman isn't going to have Shakespearean dialogue. I'm sure his main role is to beat the crap out of some people. I
remember. So I remember the Mountain though was not I remember him speaking and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong, but he had some stuff to do more than just Hulk smash. So
Sure, but I'm not sure how much dialogue heavy Goatman is going to be.
Probably not at all.
So it's like I'm sure all these people that were cast that I'm not familiar with, like I say with future potential Batman casting, I am not a casting director, so I can suggest somebody that looks the part for something, but beyond that, I'm not a professional in the realm of casting. These people have jobs these casting directors have jobs for a reason. I'll let them and director Travis Knight do their job and trust that they're making the decision that's right for the film.
I just thought of though, imagine trying to fan cast someone like Trapjaw. Like, how do you even do that?
Who do you have on your bingo card for that? Like, where do you go with that?
Robert De Niro.
Like Samuel Jackson and Trapjaw. Can you imagine? That would be kind of funny because it would be the R-rated version of Masters of the Universe.
I kind of like that, and I would like it if he'd play a dual role as Battle Cat also.
Yes, that I would be here for it.
I think Trapjaw. That's what we got to get going.
Prince Adam transforms and points the sword at him. What he calls Prince Adam for doing that.
Yeah.
I can't say the word on this podcast because it's
I was going to ask, but no. Okay, let's not.
It's not because Don is going to kill me if he has to do even extra editing work because we chose to put a Samuel L. Jackson swear.
We could just throw like a beep or something, Donnie, maybe.
But what I take away from those casting those roles is that it shows me that Travis Knight is paying attention to the lore. Like, he's not just making up random henchmen that have never been in the material before to serve Skeletor. Like, these are people from the source material.
Yeah, I like the deep cut of Goatman specifically. I do. I think that's cool. Yeah. And you mentioned making up characters, and my mind went to the other movie, which I didn't know those characters weren't part of the lore at the time. I mean, I was a child, and to me, He-Man is He-Man. Yeah. And, when I realized they weren't later on, I was like, hey, I kind of missed those guys. Yeah. So I think there is a way to introduce your own wacky characters. But because we've only had, this will be the second Master Universe movie in 40 years, Let's stick with what works.
Put some people from the material in there.
Right, let's try it.
I'm glad that Travis Knight has done that here.
Yeah, me too.
Now, in regards to Jared Leto, you can imagine, you've been on social media long enough to understand this, that when the news of Jared Leto being cast as Skeletor was made official, there was a segment of the internet that threw fit and was not happy, and their first recourse is, well, the Joker in Morbius is proof that Jared Leto should not be cast in this. Now, granted, I was not a fan of that iteration of the Joker. However, that has as much to do with him as it does the material and the director's vision for what they wanted him to do. So, again, part of it, he was the actor creating that role, like inhabiting that role. So I'm not absolving him of all responsibility for that performance, but there were other factors involved in that. This may be contrary to most of the known universe. I didn't hate Morbius. I thought he was decent in that role. The movie was enjoyable. More enjoyable than a lot of the Sony Spider-Man, Spider-Less movies. Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies. That's a tongue twister, by the way. Note to Sony, please stop. Try saying that 5 times.
I was going to, like, now.
So, I enjoyed that movie, and his performance was okay in that. But let's also remember that for every Joker and Morbius performance that Jared Leto has done, he's also been in Dallas Buyers Club, which, correct me if I'm wrong, won him his Oscar.
Correct.
And he was also in Fight Club, which was pretty damn good as well.
And American Psycho, Requiem for a Dream. He's been in a ton of stuff.
A ton of stuff. And a lot of it he's been good in. So, can he play Skeletor? Does he have the ability to play Skeletor and be a really good Skeletor? I say yes. What's your take, Chris?
So, it's not often that I have like an actual I would say a visceral reaction to any kind of news. What I did to this because I was so excited. I was incredibly like, Jared Leto, yes! And I texted you as soon as I saw it.
I think yours was the first way I saw it there.
Yeah, I was so excited because I love Jared Leto. I think he's fantastic. He's got a bad rap lately for a couple of reasons. Joker and Morbius, and then his offset behavior is strange at best.
Sure. Yeah.
Is what we'll call it. But he is an Oscar-winning actor, and when he's got good material, he uses it.
Yeah.
So, and him being in this brings a certain credibility to the project that I think it maybe didn't need, but it's not going to hurt it. And I cannot wait to see him as Skeletor. I love this casting choice. Was he my first pick? No. I think we talked about this. Michael Shannon was probably my first pick.
Sure. Yeah.
But I am not going to complain about an Oscar-winning actor who I already enjoy. This is cool with me. And I think with them getting Leto, I think that means we're going to get Keldor.
It certainly would lend itself to that because he looks like Keldor.
He does look like Keldor. He's got kind of that sort of look. But also, I think if you were not going to do Keldor, you would have just got like a Michael Shannon. Yeah. Or maybe more of a character actor, which Jared Leto isn't exactly. I mean, he can do both, but, you know, I think that we're in good hands with Leto. And also, I was thinking about this last night, because I saw a picture of Alison Brie from a recent thing, and I was thinking, man, him and Alison Brie are going to look badass as a villain team.
That's quite a duel.
Yeah, they're going to look really cool. So, aesthetically, I'm excited too.
thinking about it, and so yeah, again, he looks like Skeletor. I'm not saying it's confirmed now that that's the way they're going to go, but in spite of him looking like Skeletor, if they choose to go that route, the good thing about Jared Leto is he's not going to be um, reluctant to be put under prosthetics for the Skeletor look. Like he immerses himself in that kind of thing where
yes, that's another thing. He will get lost in it.
Yeah. So I think in that respect, I think we're in good shape for the look of Skeletor, like with the face and the whole.
I do wonder what he's going to look like because it's Leto.
Yeah.
And also, Leto is not like, I don't know the word for it, but he's muscular normally, like just his average day. Yeah. So that makes me wonder if they are going to kind of go with the half-naked Skeletor. I don't know, because they picked a guy who's usually muscular anyway. But when it comes to the face, I think I was thinking maybe it'd be prosthetics or maybe CGI enhancements, but I hope they don't shy away from it.
And CGI. I don't think it'll be one or the other completely. I think it'll be a mix.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting Frank Langella again, even though that still works.
Yeah,
it still looks great, but I do think we're going to get maybe a mix, like you said. I'm very curious how it's going to look, and if it retains, because they might not go full skeleton. Maybe they're going to retain some of Leto's facial features. That's what I was getting at.
It's going to be I am so intrigued to see like their first look.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Nicholas Galzine is He-Man, and then Skeletor would be the other one. But let me just tell you, Alison Brie, I think if they go accurate with Evelyn, like comic or cartoon or however you describe it, accurate, she's going to look incredible because I can already if I close my eyes and envision it, I can see the action figure coming to life in the form of Alison Brie.
I think just when you think about her, like from the eyes up with the crown and everything, it'll look amazing. Because I kind of figure she'll look something like the original movie. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
just amp it up a little bit and give her the scepter. I think she'll look great.
And also, just like if you think about it, so we just rolled off unknown, relative unknowns in the supporting villain roles. But then, if you look at the rest of the cast, Alison Brie is relatively well known.
Mm-hmm. Idris
Elba, and Jared Leto. They've cast 3 very well known people in this film, and then put them around more fresh faces in the form of Nicholas Galzine and
Camila.
Yeah,
something.
So Camila Mendes. Yeah. And it kind of, and I don't want to make the comparison, and people are gonna, but it kind of echoes the casting formula that Superman the movie employed all those years ago, where Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve were relatively fresh faces, and surrounded by more marquee names. No, I don't think Alison Brie and Idris Elba are on the level of in terms of known recognition as Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman were. But still, I think average audiences have an idea of who Alison Brie and Idris Elba are.
I would say so. I think Idris Elba is pretty popular, but see, they're both known for TV roles, which is even better.
Yep.
I think because more people will watch TV shows than they do movies. So, and Community was everywhere. That Luthor show is everywhere. I don't even know what it is, but I know Luthor.
Yeah. And I'm like, so there's a show called Luthor, and it has nothing to do with Lex from the comic. Okay, cool.
Which threw me. I was like, wait, is this a Lex? No.
I've watched the Lex Luthor show, but
I would take Idris Elba as Lex. But yeah, they're known names, and even Camila Mendes it's like she's not
She's unknown, yeah.
She's been in a couple things though where she's a little memorable, like that Upgrade movie, which was on Netflix. It's a rom-com. I think it was a holiday movie too. I can't remember.
Yeah.
People saw it, but I think that when you're dealing with a property like this is how you do it. And also, He-Man is not the easiest sell. You and I love it. We have friends who love it, but I think we can all acknowledge it is not an easy sell.
That loves it. Like there's a reason why it's lasted for 40 years, for sure.
But to explain it to a newcomer, hey, there's this story that takes place in another world where a little guy uses a sword to transform into the Hulk, essentially.
It's.
Oh, and he fights a skeleton. That's his uncle.
You've got to find a way in for general audiences, and
right.
This could very well be the way in.
Yes.
So, a couple of other interesting tidbits aside from the casting. So, Nicholas Galzine has been doing the rounds via interviews. I think recently he did an interview with, I want to say, the Hollywood Reporter.
It was that or Collider, one of the two.
Yes. I think, it was the Hollywood Reporter. So basically, they asked him if he's been binge watching the old cartoon and how it compares to the film and all. To which he says he has been watching the classic Filmation cartoon, but he says that their version, the film version, is quite different from the original animation. He notes that the original animation was filled with camp and that worked in its own right, but that was for the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes on to note that there has been a couple of iterations since then, and then he calls out the Revolution Netflix version and the comics as well. But he made special note of the fact that it has, resonated. That original show has resonated with so many fans for 40 years, or thereabouts, and he's hopeful that their version will be able to attract new fans as well. The Hollywood Reporter then brought up to him the fact that they spoke with Alison Brie as to why she accepted the role, and she had said two specific reasons, where one was the script, and then the other was wanting to work with Nicholas Galzine. To which he said he was very flattered the fact that she thought of him in that regard, and he mentioned working out with her on a couple of occasions, once or twice in LA, and then again in the UK when she came to do a costume fitting. And he remarked on just how awesome she is in the gym working out, and how physically transformative she looks. And even he's looking forward to as much as we are seeing her as Evelyn. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, noting that he said that this version of Masters of the Universe is going to be a little bit different than the classic Filmation cartoon. There was also let's call it a rumor, because that's all it is.
It's from Deadline. The synopsis is from Deadline.
Oh, right, but has that been...
It hasn't been confirmed, but Deadline is posting, and if it's from Deadline, I mean...
Usually Deadline from the synopsis that I think you were going on, or the Deadline's going off of, is the previous iteration of the script, which was by the Nee brothers. That was going to be the Netflix thing. So they could just be...
It could be recycled.
The old log line, so to speak. The interesting rumor that I want to speak about more specifically is the one from, and again, it's a scooper. So again, 50-50, 40-60 take it as you will.
70-30.
Take it with a grain of salt. But it's from Daniel RPK is saying that this film starts off with He-Man on Earth, or Prince Adam on Earth, in a sort of office job kind of deal. And the stories and memories that he has of Eternia are stories that he was told as a child. Now, again, a lot of fandom got up in arms over this. And, you're going to take him off of Eternia, and is it even going to be a He-Man movie? Let me just caution everybody saying that the most recent DC Comics run of Masters of the Universe comics from like a decade or so ago had He-Man unaware of who he was. He was a woodsman. Him and King Randor were woodsmen who had no recollection of who they were or their status in Eternia or any of that because of a spell put on them by Skeletor. So that could be the scenario, if this is true, the scenario at play in this iteration. Like Skeletor put a spell on him and banished him to Earth, and he starts to remember the stories he remembers as a child, or he remembers what he's remembering are, he thinks, stories that he heard of as a child, when in actual fact they're his memories coming back. It's the same kind of idea. Now, the reason why it could be different, if that's what's going on here, is because maybe they don't have the rights to use that aspect of the DC iteration of the lore. Like, I don't know how that would work. Like, where they could port all that.
I don't know if that matters when you do, unless you're using specific characters created by DC. I don't think it matters. I think they could just take the story if they want.
I'm not sure how, especially with the rights with Masters of the Universe and all
that
She-Ra stuff. Who the hell knows? So, but the variation of that is what I'm trying to get at. But what do you make of that if that's the case?
It's something I'd have to wait and see. Because I don't mind them trying to find a way to ease people in. Like I was saying, it's a hard sell, I get it. But that's a lot. And you got to think, well, most of the movie is going to be He-Man in the office kind of situation. Because they're not going to... I think the Eternia stuff would probably be the third act. So you're talking acts 1 and 2 or him...
Beginning, he could be like, they could show him getting banned. Like they could show like a battle, like the end of a battle, and he gets banished, and
they could, but I don't know if I just don't know if I like that. I like the other that we'll get to the other idea better, but I mean I'd wait and see.
Talk about the other idea and then see.
So the synopsis from Deadline, I'm going to paraphrase it, is that Prince Adam was sent to Earth when he was 10 years old by Skeletor. I don't think it states by Skeletor, but he was sent when he was 10 years old, and then he's separated from the sword, and then somehow he finds the sword finds him, and he gets sent back to Eternia as an adult.
Yeah.
That idea I'm actually more on board with, because I feel like with that idea you can use Keldor. Keldor sends him to Earth to get rid of him. That's kind of the way I deciphered that, but... that to me works better than a spell was put on him and now he's working with Michael Scott in the office.
My overall stance is let's just wait and see. And here's why I say that. I mean, you could say that with any movie, but here's why I'm not panicking in regards to anything either way. And it's very simple. And it's that guy gave us one of the, if not, it could be argued, the best live-action Transformers movie in the form of Bumblebee, which managed to skirt the line of being faithful to the previous movies, but also being more faithful to the original conception of Transformers, like the cartoon. And so if he was that faithful to Bumblebee, and now he's including characters like Crapjaw and Goatman, and I'm missing another one.
Oh, Tri-Klops.
Tri-Klops, yeah. I don't think it's just going to be He-Man in an office suit running around the office telling stories to his coworker. I just don't see Travis Knight doing that.
But it might be entertaining, even if it is that. We don't know.
But I'm just saying, I have more faith in Travis Knight that he's going to be respectful of the overall lore of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, be it more comics and original toy line centric, as opposed to the Filmation cartoon or not. But I think he's going to be faithful based on what he gave us with Bumblebee. So that's why I'm not worried right now.
Yeah, it's nothing to worry about right now. But also, I think that there's so many different versions of He-Man now. You can cherry pick, and whatever happens. I also think
from different versions for sure.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? And I think there's also room to have this Hook type adaptation.
Yeah.
I feel like Hook is what they're describing is kind of like Hook.
Yeah. And that movie, that's fantastic.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
I love that movie. So it's like if that's what they're trying to do, go for it. Go like somebody was, and here's an example. Somebody's like, well, when there was the whole rumor of the test screening of Superman, which there was no actual test screening, but somebody said, oh, they compared it to Captain America: The First Avenger and the first Brendan Fraser Mummy movie, and I'm like, okay, and what's the problem with that? I love both of those movies.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think the cap thing came from the test. I think that came from an insider. They said that.
I think it's like, what's the problem with either of those?
I think that's a perfect line to walk if it's First Avengers.
So if they are trying to do a Hook here, like the actual Hook, not hook people in, but Hook the movie, if that's the kind of thing they're trying to emulate, sure, sign me up.
Let's see what it is.
But again, I trust in the director.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Alison Brie did not need this movie. She did not need to sign on to this. She signed on for the script. Well, one of the reasons was the script.
Yeah. Jared Leto didn't need it either, with an Oscar.
Jared Leto with an Oscar, and sort of mixed perception from both Morbius and the Joker.
I mean, yeah.
But here we are.
Jared Leto's also getting ready to headline his own franchise with Tron now.
Yeah.
He does not need to be Skeletor. He wanted to be.
Yeah, exactly. So there's got to be a reason. I mean, yes, I'm sure they're both being paid very well. But
yeah, the toys and everything is going to...
There's got to be more than just, I'll do it for the paycheck.
I'd say they're both... Well, at least Jared Leto should be past that point.
Especially with those two actors. Yeah, like Alison Brie could have done whatever she wants. I'm sure there are plenty of filmmakers that want to cast her in things.
Yeah, and she's always good too.
Yeah. So again, I'm not at a stage that I'm worrying at this point. I'm excited in the fact that we are literally a week or a couple of weeks, depending on what the actual date is, away from an actual live action Masters of the Universe film rolling before cameras.
I can't wait for whatever they show us first. I really want to see the sword.
Look, when I watched, if the movie is utter crap after I'm done watching it, then I'll worry.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, I ain't worried. I'm just show me, give me what you're going to give me.
Maybe I have low expectations because I'm just kind of thinking, well, how bad could it really be anyway?
Look, I love the original 87 movie.
I do too.
But let's not kid ourselves. It's not the best movie in the world, by far.
So that's no Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, so like what are we worrying about here? Like, really?
Exactly.
So let's just enjoy the fact that it's finally happening, folks.
This is one of those. I don't usually say this for movies, but let's enjoy the ride on this one.
Yeah, I'll take a page from certain people that I don't like taking a page from, and enjoy the process, enjoy the ride.
This is going to be fun. And like I said, as soon as I saw Skeletor, I texted you and another friend immediately because I was so excited.
You know what I mean? You know what it means? It means we're going to get to do more of this podcast because every time there's a piece of info that's worth talking about, Chris and I will jump on and do a recording and talk about it. And we'll probably maybe we'll get Chris to read some of the comics, and we'll do reviews of the comics. Maybe a couple of it. Maybe we'll look back at the 2000 show. We'll do some podcasts.
We'll do some fun stuff.
We'll review the '87 movie. Why not? I mean, that should be up on this podcast.
That's a good idea.
So I don't mind revisiting it. So there'll be more episodes of this show, which is a good thing. And we're getting a movie, so let's enjoy it. And that's pretty much all we got. Unless there's anything you want to add to this episode before we wrap it up.
I just hope we see Beastman and Battle Cat. That's it.
Yes, that is something that I want to see. I do hope that look. There are a lot of things I want. You could put him in the office before he becomes He-Man. Make him a middleman. Make him a pool boy. I really don't care. but give me. And here's a shout out to Amazon. You want to really have a cameo? Make He-Man before he realizes he's He-Man. Anne Hathaway's pool boy. How about that? There we go. There's Anne Hathaway in the movie too. But
she could have been a great Evil Lynn also.
Yeah, what I really want is not Anne Hathaway, although she's on the list. Fine, I'll click the pen. But what I really want in this movie is not Anne Hathaway. I want Battle Cat. I was waiting for him in '87. He didn't show up. He wasn't even mentioned. I want Battle Cat. He doesn't even have to talk. I don't care. I just want to see it. If Titans, a TV show that started on the DC, what was the DC streaming service? Infinite DC Universe Infinite?
It was a DC Unlimited?
DC, whatever it was. It started on the DC streaming service. And that Titans show had Beast Boy as a Green Tiger. If they could do it with about $5 of production budget, you're telling me Amazon doesn't have enough money to produce Battle Cat?
I don't want him to talk, actually. I'm fine if he does, but I don't need him to speak. Just have him there.
I don't care if he talks or doesn't. It's like the curl on Superman's hair. It's inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. I just need to see him. So that's what I want. But, yeah, aside from wanting Battle Cat, it's all good. I'm excited. You're excited. We're getting a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe movie, and we'll have more for you in the weeks and months ahead. So stay tuned. But if you want to talk about Masters of the Universe with either Chris or I, while we wait for our next episode, you can on social media. Chris, where to track you down?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70. I also have a Blue Sky account. I don't really use it. I'm trying to get used to it. It's I think it's thatchris7 at Blue Sky or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Awesome. If you want to follow me, it's at Adam_LeafsFan on Twitter. I have a Blue Sky account. I'm not sure the username. If I remember, I'll put it in the description because I'm trying to also post on there more. It's just remembering to do so. In addition to Twitter and Blue Sky, you can join the Facebook group for the podcast network, which will be listed in the description below. Click that. I will add you, and we can continue the conversation there. But until next time, remember that He-Man and the Masters of the Universe are forever. From the first time Skeletor tries to take over Castle Grayskull to the last. So long, everybody.